Good evening, everyone. I'm Lamangelo Johnson, and on today's episode of Hipster Theologians, we have a very special guest that has deeply impacted many Christians over decades. Please welcome C.S. Lewis, everyone.
Woo! Hello. Thank you for having me on this show, Lamangelo. I'm really glad to be here.
Yes, we're so happy to have you. Quick question though, I noticed that you don't have an Irish accent. Weren't you born in Ireland?
Yes, good question. A lot of people ask me that now. I've actually been dead for 50 years, so going up into heaven, the accent's actually like Minnesotan. So Jesus just loves you guys here in Minnesota. So that's what I talk like.
That's great. All right, so today our first question comes from an actual Skype caller from Roseville, Minnesota. Please welcome Hubert, everyone.
Hey, Mr. Lewis, quick question once. How would you describe your journey of coming to Christ? Like, what was the story behind that, and how did that play into your creation of your philosophy and ministry?
Great question, Hubert. Jack? Can I call you Jack?
Yeah, it's actually what my friends and family call me.
Okay. Can you answer that question first, Jack?
Oh, I'd love to. Well, Hubert, I was born in Ireland, and I actually grew up in a faith home. And at the age of 15, I rejected the faith, and I became an atheist. And at the age of 18, I went into the war, and that actually confirmed my atheism because of the horrors I'd experienced. And I was just really angry at God for not existing. But actually, at the age of 33, I became a Christian again. And with the conversations and arguments with my good friends, J.R. Token and Hugo Dyson, they just helped me come to Christ again, even though I was kicking and struggling, and there may or may not have been some screaming involved. So that was a little bit about my faith. I'm actually an Anglican, and I just wanted to describe the common Christian ground to everyone around me. And in my book, Mere Christianity, if you haven't read it, it's a great book. I wrote it. I just wanted to avoid any controversies of Christianity and to explain fundamental teachings of Christianity. The basics of Christianity is for everyone, and just to understand it, and it didn't matter how much education you had in your life. So hope that answers your question.
Great. Thanks so much. Great answer. Thanks, Jack. Okay, our next question. How did your Irish roots and culture impact your life and ministry?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I have lived in Ireland my whole life, and I developed a love for Irish mythology, literature, poetry, and language. And I just love Ireland so much, and I've just learned so much about the culture. But fun fact for the day, after coming to Christ, my interest gravitated towards Christian spirituality and actually went away from Celtic mysticism. And I did live in England for a couple of years. I went to school there, and I ended up teaching at a school there. And I just sought to find many people of the Irish culture and to have a community with them, just to be like home. And I visited Northern Ireland a lot when I was there. But actually, in my most famous books, Chronicles of Narnia, I borrowed characters from Irish fairy tales to kind of bring back the Irish culture in my writing.
Wow, that is amazing.
It is amazing.
Wow. All right, so we have our next question. It's actually from an audience member. He's here with his mother, so I'm going to hand her the microphone, and we'll just hear the next question.
Okay, Theodore, Teddy, ask him.
I love Chronicles of Narnia. Why did you write it?
Oh, that's a great question, Teddy. Well, I wanted to write the Chronicles of Narnia just because I loved to read when I was a kid. And it was fun, and I learned a lot. And I just wanted to make these books contain Christian ideas, but that it was easily accessible for young people to read. But I actually have a question for you, young lad. Were you able to understand the books?
Yep.
That's awesome. I'm glad it worked.
Great. Thanks so much, Theodore. Oh, our audience member Teddy totally forgot to mention that his stuffed animal's name is Aslan. Funny connection.
Wow, yeah, that is funny. I love that.
So great. Thanks so much, Teddy, for coming on here.
Teddy.
Well, it's about time to wrap up this episode of Hipster Theologians. Thanks everybody for coming out, and I'd like to make a personal thank you to Clive Staples Lewis. He came out of his grave to come and be with us today. Who, I don't know anybody that would do that. I'm just so thankful for him. And yeah, we'd just like to give him a big round of applause right now.
Thank you so much for having me here on Hipster Theologian. I've had the time of my life here, and it was way better than laying
By the time
in my
of
grave.
your death?
Oh, good one.
Thanks, I tried.
Yes, good. Well, I really enjoyed my time here, so thank you, Angelo.
Yes, thank you so much, Jack. And that concludes this episode of Hipster Theologians. Thank you very much. Great question. Great question. Great answer, Jack. Thanks for that. Okay, next question we have. How did your Irish roots and culture impact your life and ministry?
That's a great question. Let's see here. Well, having lived in Ireland for most of my life, I've developed a love for Irish mythology. What is the deal? I'm doing so good every time, and then you just destroy it!
Great answer. Thanks for that, Jack. Next question. How did your Irish roots and culture impact your life and ministry?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, having lived in Ireland for most of my life, I developed a love for Irish. Oh my gosh, I'm really
I can't do it. Ashley started laughing.
Ashley, you over there!
It's the beard. It's weird. Great answer, Jack. Thanks for that. Okay, next question. How did your Irish roots and culture impact your life and ministry?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, having lived in Ireland for most of my life, I've developed a love for Irish mythology, literature. Oh, that one was
Okay.
literature. I'm still recording.
We're recording.